My last two videos, I discussed how to produce sales budget and production budget. If you haven't watched it, feel free to go to my channel and click on the playlist and select managerial accounting and watch the video on sales budget and also on production budget. Or feel free to pause this video and go through this too. But today I'm going to discuss direct material budget. Okay, direct material budget. So we have a company here, a company that produces a famous perfumes or make curries, okay, and it's a perfume company, okay, and they uses material to produce material called musk oil. Apparently, they use musk oil to make these perfumes, okay, and we have been asked to produce a direct material budget for this company, okay, or for this company. And they have already gone through the first year. So all we need is we are going to produce for them the second year direct material budget. Okay. The second year direct material budget. And as I've always said, begin with the title of the budget. Okay, so here we have main course and its direct material budget. This is inevitable. Okay, you cannot do away without the title of the budget. Okay, so moving on, we have this year, and we know there are 4 quarters in a year. Okay, so we producing the direct material, we're doing the budget for the second year. Okay. If you notice something from my previous videos, I always add some years, either the year before or the year after, and I highlight them in red. Okay, red indicating that this is not really part of the budget, but we need figures there to find the figures that we need in this year. So in this case, the company has is the budget that they have, the required production in units. Okay, so we have already been given here. So I'll go ahead and just put them there: 60,000 in the first quarter, 90,000 in the second quarter, 150,000 in the third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter, 100,000 in the fourth quarter. Okay, so at the end of the year, for the whole second year, we should produce 400,000 bottles of perfume. Okay, and in year 3, the company has budgeted to produce 70,000 bottles of perfume. No, now this is what they want to produce, but we have learned in previous chapters that for something to be produced, there is a need for direct material, there is a need for direct labor, and then a manufacturing overhead. Here we're only dealing with direct material. This is the direct material budget. And the direct material this company uses is musk oil. Musk oil, okay? So we're going to go ahead and ask ourselves how many units of direct material is needed per, okay, how many direct materials needed per unit? Okay, direct materials are measured in units anyway. So as we look at it from the problem we have been given, it says 3 grams of musk oil. 3 grams of musk oil are required for each bottle. Okay, 3 grams of musk oil. So that means we need 3 for each bottle. So we will just, sorry about that, 3 will go over. So we need 3 grams of musk oil for 60,000 bottles we want to produce in the first quarter, and so forth. Okay, so now that we find how many units will be needed, we will need to produce. Okay, it's a unit of raw materials needed to meet production. Is we have, if we are going to produce 60 bottles and 1 unit, we need 3 grams of oil. Then how many musk oil, how many grams of musk oil would we need? That's when we multiply the 60,000 by the 3. Okay, and then we just drag it all the way. And there we go. Okay, so That means in the first quarter, we will need 180,000 grams of mask oil to produce 60,000 bottles. In the second quarter, we will need 270,000 grams of mask oil to produce 90,000 bottles, and so forth. And at the end of the year, we would have to purchase, or we will need 1,200,000 grams of mask oil to produce, and in the third year, the first quarter of the third year, that's what it is. So I will write here the first quarter. Okay, seems I have something already there. So yes, so the first quarter of the third year is that. Okay, now the company will want to have some inventory left. Okay, company will want to have some. The company will not want to sell everything in their inventory. They want to have some ending inventory at the end of the year or at the end of each quarter. Okay, so that's what we're going to find at desired unit of ending raw materials. Okay? And how do we calculate that? Okay, and as we read the problem, says for this reason, or let's move ahead. Okay, so mask oil has become so popular as a perfume ingredient that it has become necessary to carry large inventories as a precaution against stock out. So the company doesn't want to run out of stocks. Okay. For this reason, the inventory of mask oil at the end of a quarter must be equal to. So pay attention here. It must be equal to 20% of the following quarter. Sorry about that. So it must be equal to 20% of the following quarter. So the ending inventory needed in first quarter should be equal to 20% of second quarter. Second quarter should be equal to 20% of third quarter. Third quarter should be equal to 20% of fourth quarter. So this is what we're going to calculate here. Okay. So we move ahead and we have 20% times the next quarter. And then we can go ahead and just drag it so you don't have to compute it. Okay. When you get to the fourth quarter, that is the confusing one. Okay. The fourth quarter, notice if you drag it to the fourth quarter, it will compute with the total. You don't need the total, you need the next quarter, not the total of the year. Okay, so here you will have to do it at 20% times the beginning, the next quarter, which is the first quarter in year 3, because we have only 4 quarters a year. So when you end in fourth quarter, you will start first quarter in the following year. Okay, so that will give us 42,000. Okay, as we have the 42,000, now at the end of the year, okay, what is the ending inventory or the ending raw materials inventory at the end of the year? We started from the first quarter and we ended here. So at the end of the year, this is what we have left, 42,000. Okay, don't sum up everything here. That will be wrong. We only need the ending raw material inventory, and that is where the year ended. When the year ended, we will have to have 42,000. So we select the 42,000 as the year ended. Okay. Now, let's move on with total raw materials needed. Total raw materials needed. Okay. Now that we have this, okay, now that we have this, we will add, we'll go ahead and add these two together. Or you can, yes, we'll go ahead and add these two together. So the unit of raw materials we need to produce plus what we want to be left in the inventory. What we want, we don't want to sell everything. We want to retain 54,000 of the next quarter. want to retain 54,000 of the next quarter. So that will give us 234,000 raw materials that we need. So we drag it all the way. Okay, so here you can drag it all the way, okay, because we are adding these two together. So that will give you this the correct amount that we needed. Okay. Now we have these ones, okay. But notice when you start the quarter, there is always some inventory left. Okay. So if you want to know how many raw materials you need to purchase, subtract, don't consider the one that is left when you begin, because you don't need to buy. It's already purchased, so you don't need to consider buying it again. That is when we subtract the beginning raw materials inventory. Okay. So the beginning raw material inventory, the second here we have, this is also a tricky one here. So we have this one here in the second quarter, the beginning raw materials will be the ending raw material for the first quarter. Okay. In the third quarter, the beginning raw materials will be the ending for the second quarter. So let's go ahead and put this here. Okay. So the fourth quarter will be the beginning for the third quarter. And that's what we have here. Okay. So, but what about the first quarter? What about the first quarter? So the first quarter would be, we have been even given here, and it says, but I will show you how to do it if you were not given. It says some 36,000, okay, grams of musk oil will be on hand to start the quarter of year 2. Okay, to start the quarter of year 2. Okay, so since we have been given, let's put it there, 36,000. But if you were not given and you have to find it, okay, you have to find it. That will be 20%. So the 20% we have been given here, multiplied by 180,000. That gives you the 36,000. Okay, so they were right when they gave us that number. But if you're not given, you need to know that multiply by, because if you assume in the first year, the fourth quarter was 20% that they want to retain of the first quarter. So but since we have been given here, let's just go ahead and put it over there. But if you are not given, that is how you calculate it. Okay, that's how you calculate it. So moving on with this problem, now we need to subtract the beginning raw materials from the total raw materials needed. So we'll take this minus the total raw materials needed, and we just drag it all the way. Okay. But here we notice, here we didn't do this, so let's go ahead and let's go back and do this. So the beginning raw materials is what you started with. So in the first year, in the first quarter of the year, you started with 36,000. So you need the 36,000 to put it there. Okay. So you notice that if you are asked of the ending, you ask yourself, when did the period end? This is a yearly period, okay? This is an annual period. So it ended on the fourth quarter. So this is where it ended. Beginning, when did the period begin? It began on the first quarter. And we began with 36,000. So that's what you put here. Okay. Now, let's move on and wrap up everything. So now we do have unit of cost, okay, unit cost of raw material. How much does 1 gram of musk oil cost? Okay, how much does, and now we go to the information and it says the cost of musk oil is $1.5 per gram. Okay, so 1 gram costs $1.5. So we just put it here. $1.5, $1.5, $1.5, and $1.5. Okay, put everything here. And now what we will do to finish everything is calculate the number we will need, the number of grams of mask oil we will need, multiply by the price. Okay, 297,000, and then we just drag everything all over, and then it compute everything for us. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I know it will. Okay, so this is the end of our direct material budget. Feel free to pause the video or go back, and I know I may have done it too quick, but feel free to pause the video or go back to review and match everything. If you have any question, just drop your comments and I'll respond. Thank you. I will see you again next time.